actually are applicable to your life. And then if you decide you no longer want to apply the rest of it, that's cool. That week, the next week, it might not be for you, or the following week might not be for you, but the next week might. So, and then also, just because it's not for you doesn't mean that it's not for somebody. So you may have heard a wise word that may not be, may not be applicable to your life, but it may be applicable to a friend. And I'll just ask if you can to share that video with that friend, because you never know what they. Oh, dang! I'm sorry. I'm just seeing so many people have joined. I appreciate the love. You never know what they might need and how they could be, benefit from that particular wise word. Um, and how it can help their life. So I'm super appreciative for y'all. Thank you for everybody that's joining on the Instagram. So for my camera here, if you see me looking this way, it's because my Instagram live is to the left. So that's why I'm kind of looking over to the left there. But if there's any questions for my folks that are on IG live, if you have anything that you want me to answer, feel free to drop it in there in the Q&A. I think I have like a Q&A session or whatever. Yeah, I have no questions yet, but feel free to drop a question. Or if you want to hop on live, just request, and I'm happy to bring you on to hop on the Instagram live. They won't be able to hear you on the Facebook or YouTube live, but I will make sure that I'll translate or reiterate whatever you said for the people that are listening on the YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, or if they're listening through the various podcast streaming networks and sites. So the first thing that I'm going to do, aside from saying thank you, thank you, thank you to each and every person that decided to take a moment out of their day to just watch the Wise Word Wednesday podcast or show, to watch each Wise Word Wednesday, man, I really appreciate it, because we've been going long and strong, you know what I'm saying, for 6 years. We are going on year 7 now, long and strong like that Sigma would. So we just genuinely appreciate each and every bit of support that we get. I mean, it's crazy because I didn't imagine that this would be lasting this long. I kind of thought Wise Word Wednesday was just going to be something that I would do like maybe for a little bit, but it ended up turning into something bigger than what I thought it was. So it's just a blessing to be able to know that the messages resonate with people. And it's what's the interesting part about Wise Word Wednesdays is that many of my messages are actually to me. like like sometimes people may hit me up and be like, oh man, that message was dope, like, yo, I really felt that message was like, yo, like I needed to hear that. And it's like, it's crazy because a lot of times when I think of what to say for that particular Wise Word Wednesday, it's always like, sometimes, well, not always, sometimes it's what I need. I'm thinking about like, what do I need, or what does, some of the things that me and my friends are talking about or discussing, or some of the things that maybe I've heard, or some of the things I've watched on TV. But a lot of times, like, these are messages for myself, because there are things that think I'm constantly improving on. Like I always tell people, like, I'm my biggest critic. There's nothing that someone can say. Uh, there's nothing that someone can say that I probably already haven't said to myself or thought about to myself. It's very rare that I will hear a joke, a roast, or a critique that I haven't already like gone through in my head. People still surprise me from time to time, but it's just very rare. Like most of the time, like I'm always overly critical of myself in a variety of different ways. So a lot of times when I'm speaking Wise Word Wednesdays, I'm talking to myself, but not every time. There are some messages I'm like, somebody need to hear this. This for somebody. It ain't for me. But it still doesn't mean that it's not super helpful. So again, if there's anybody out there that has any questions or anything like that, you want to join the YouTube, the Instagram live, you're more than welcome to join. Or if you have some questions, please submit them in the question box, and I'm happy to answer them. But there were some things that people did submit earlier that they kind of wanted me to talk about, some topics for today. One of the things that I got was, how can men empower women? How can men empower women? And I think this is a great question, but I'm gonna hopefully address this in the way that I feel like is most appropriate. Obviously, there is a huge discrepancy in regards to the patriarchy within the gender and sex and society, right? So historically, men have benefited from in ways that women could not partake in. And one of the things that's obviously one of the things that we learned about in my undergrad program, and even in especially in my graduate program, I learned about the various ways in which the male gender has or the male sex has dominated the female sex in America. But one of the things I try to caution people on, or that I'm learning even more how to caution people on, is we have to understand intersectionality. And a new, it's well, it's not a new phrase or a new term, but it's something that it's new to me that I just recently found out is dual dilemma. Right, dual dilemma is it was basically brought up back in like 1978. And it talks about how if I'm just paraphrasing, and again, I just learned this, so I don't want to mess it up, and I apologize if I am messing it up. But I believe it basically talks about some of the issues that men from the African diaspora, Black men, African American men, have in regards to the gender patriarchy being assigned to them in regards to the negative implications of it by in regards to the benefiting from it, right? That people say that you're a man, you benefit from being a man, but Black men in America haven't historically benefited from that particular gender patriarchy, if that makes sense. Again, if I'm butchering it, I literally just read about this in a book that I'm reading like 2 days ago. So I apologize. I'm not the most well versed and knowledgeable about that particular dual dilemma. You know what I mean? Dynamic there. I understand the experience, but I'm not well versed in regards to dual dilemma itself. Cause I think again, dual dilemma came out in like 78. Um no, I'm just losing it. Now I'm just losing it all. But Dual Dilemma came out in 1978. Intersectionality came out in like 1988. So it was like a decade before. But Dual Dilemma didn't really get popularized because obviously it dealt with males, right? It dealt with men, and intersectionality was popularized because it was kind of highlighting women and females. But the point is that we have to genuinely be careful the way that we critique our Black men specifically in regards to the way that women have been oppressed. And I say that because it's Black men specifically in America have not benefited from um have not benefited from like the patriarchy, right? In a sense, the way that the white men in society, in American society, have in American civilization. And so we kind of have to really be careful with the way that we use, um, in the way that we categorize those that have been oppressive, especially to women, right? Because what Dr. I think it's Tommy J. Curry, his book that I'm reading currently. I think it's called The Nod Man. I think it's over there, but The Nod Man. But anyway, he talks about this where he basically is explaining that we have to be careful because Black men were condemned in a lot of different ways, and we were ripped of our civilization, right? Through slavery, we were treated like cattle. And so that patriarchy that we are critiquing now, right, hundreds of years later, for white men, those that have dominated societies, dominated many of the the corporate America, many of the workforce. Our Black men didn't have that opportunity. Our Black men didn't have that position, didn't have the ability to really um, take or remove power from our Black women or from women in general. Even though there are some men that, like Black men, that got the right to vote, before women, our Black women, it's really important that we understand the power dynamic, right? That just because they did have the right to vote, they still did not have the ability to exercise that right because the white oppression did not allow them to. So the reason why I'm bringing this up now is because the question is, how can men empower women? I think that a lot of my focus is specifically on Black men. My research was on Black men. You know, a lot of what I try to empower are Black men. That's not the only people I try to empower, but a lot of the people that I truly try to reach out to in regards to empowerment and self-improvement are Black men. And so I just want to make sure that we are understanding, we have a full comprehension of the way that our Black men have been oppressed, and how that how it wouldn't be fair for us to judge them based on a power that they never had. So, in regards to how can we empower women, I think, in my opinion, we men, I'm just going to talk about specifically Black men first. Black men, and this is all freestyle. This wasn't, I didn't do no prior research to answer these questions. I'm literally just talking off the, like, straight from the dome here. This is like freestyle, like, you know what I mean? So I just want y'all to know this. So when I play this back, or when you play this back, or you listen and you're like, oh, he should have said this. Well, it's a lot easier said than done, because I'm just freestyling and I'm trying to go trying to go with the flow. But I think that men can empower women by being great men. I'll say that again. I think men can empower women by being great men. Now, when I'm talking about men, I am talking about heterosexual, heteronormative men. I'm not talking about other societies and other communities that maybe I'm not a part of, or I don't assign to. I'm just talking about heterosexual men, and I'm going to specifically say I'm going to talk about African American men, because when I think that when African American men are doing the things that they're supposed to be doing, I think that they empower the right woman, right? Because we have to make that distinction between just women in general and the right women. Because if you're expecting every woman to be empowered by the things, Simba, no, sorry, my dog is kind of messing things up here. But if you're expecting every woman to be empowered by the things that you're doing, that's just not going to happen. Simba, take it over there. That's just not going to happen, right? Because there are different experiences that people have. People grew up in different societies, different cultures, different backgrounds. So there is no one answer fits all. But I will say that I think that there's this video where a guy says, strong, he's like, tough times create strong men. Strong men create easy times. Easy times create weak men. Weak men create tough times. Right. So I believe that if we have great men, I believe they will empower the right woman in order to be able to walk in her true purpose as well too. Now, the reason I say the right woman as well is because that great man has to be able to identify what a right woman is, how the right woman behaves, and what that looks like. Because again, if you're expecting every woman to understand what the right man is, or respect or admire or like a great man, well, that's just not going to happen. It's never been the case. Every woman um didn't have a great man. It's just historically it never worked like that, right? So we just have to understand that there are going to be some women who don't care about what a true great man is. You know, we see it in our society all the time. We've seen it historically. It's just the way it is. Okay. So the a great man has to be able to identify a the right woman who sees value in what they're doing, value in their greatness. And this is kind of goes back to the Wise Word Wednesday that I said a few weeks ago, where I talked about like who likes you for young men out there. Because if you waste time, like, let me go back. The reason I said like who likes you is because people like different things. Okay. And if you waste time trying to be what other people like, then ultimately you're going to be dissatisfied with who you are, and you're going to be dissatisfied with who you get based on that, right? Who you end up with. So the reason it's super critical for a man to be who they are, walk in their greatness and their purpose, and be who they are called to be, and then who likes you for that, that's kind of easily identifiable, right? When you are who you are. But if you're kind of faking for this or that to try to see, make this girl happy or that girl happy or impress this chick, then you're really kind of being what they want. And then ultimately, when you get them, you're going to be dissatisfied. So you have to be able to identify as a great man, you have to be able to identify who are the people who are genuinely like interested in me based on the thing, based on who I am, right? What my purpose is, right? What do I represent? What do I stand for? My morals, my character. If there's a person that I'm interested in as a great man, if there's a person that I'm interested in and they're not interested in me, even though I'm being the best that I can, to me, that's a tell sign that it's not for you, right? That she's not for you. Um, so I think we can empower our women because the things that a great man will instill will also help that person, that woman, walk in her truth, walk in her femininity, walk in her greatness, as opposed to walking in the things that maybe might not be what she naturally does. And I have a comment here. It says, agreed. Cultivation has a process that has to be adhered to in order to produce the desired fruit. Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to be able to understand, like, this is where we're heading, right? This is what we're doing. And it takes that comprehension. So that is my response to the question, how can men empower women? I would say you empower women by being great men. Now, again, you empower the right woman, not every woman, because there are some people out there who just genuinely don't care about you doing it right. There are some people out there who genuinely don't care that you are doing everything right. It's funny, I was watching a video on TikTok today, and the video was about Tupac. It was kind of showing the different phases of Tupac. In 1988, Tupac was talking about how in this interview, he was like, he was a nice dude. He was a nice man. He was like, he had women up here. Like, he was like, yo, like, I really adore women. I was a gentleman and I was super nice and I was kind and everything. And he was like, the women told him he was too nice. And he said it broke him. He's like, that, like, what do you mean I'm too nice? He couldn't even comprehend in 1988 that he was being, even though he was being himself, right? Raised by his moms, tried to do everything that was genuine and kind, and everything that people may talk about that they want in a man. But what he saw was there were some people that didn't like that. There were some people that wanted him to be rougher. So by 1993, he was talking about B's ain't S, right? He was talking about, man, whatever. Don't, man, you better treat that. You know what I'm saying? So, but the problem is that Tupac didn't understand that he had to be himself. But that's why he changed up his style, because he was trying to impress other people. And he realized, I mean, part of that came from some of that pimp culture in the town, right? When he moved to the town. But he realized that there are some women that don't like that. And if I want to get the most, I got to be willing to do this. So that's why I say a great man can empower women by because he will empower the right women by just being who he is and walking in his purpose, right? Because, you know, Even though you can, if you are looking at the wrong person will mess you up. Simba, take that over there. Sorry, guys. Sorry. The wrong person will mess you up, right? Imagine if Tupac never made the switch. Imagine if he would have stayed gentle. Imagine if he would have stayed kind. Imagine if he would have been this. He was. I mean, he was already great. But just imagine if he would have never switched it up. Imagine if he would have never taken on the pimp culture. Imagine if he would have never changed the way he approached or talked about or even addressed women. But I will say it's hard to do when you're in that industry, right? A lot of times you got to conform to make a buck. So, just keep that in mind in regards to Tupac. So definitely rest in peace to the great. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to the great. One of the other things that was asked is when I said what topics, one of the things said adult friendships, aging, the future of AI, new wave of black music, 2024 anxiety. So these are a lot of different topics in one. So I'm going to try to address some of the things that I can within the little time that I have, because I won't be up here all night because I've been literally working since like early in the morning already. But again, I'm trying to be consistent here. So adult friendships. Um, I will say that when it comes to adult friendships, again, this is all my personal perspective and opinion. Adult friendships to me, stop being this. Hold on, my dog. Adult friendships to me, um, I don't believe they exist. I believe in family, and then I believe in acquaintances or associates. Uh, because that's just the way that I am. If I rock with you long term, it's you family. That's just what it is, right? It's family. Um, but if not, it's okay. It's like, yo, you solid. What's Gucci? Like you the homie. But that don't mean like I just don't have friendships anymore. Um I'm too old to be making new friends. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. I'm too old for that. I have family, people that I rock with, and I have people that I associate with. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's no like disrespect. I could like if one of those people that I associate with call me, I'll still answer. I'll still help them out. I'll still chop it up with them. But I just don't have, you know, the the time to be making new friends. But again, everybody's different. That's just my perspective. But I think it's also, as you get older, you can't kick it with everybody. Everybody doesn't have the same visions. Everybody doesn't have the same goals. Everybody has different perspectives on life, right? So I can't spend my time with people who aren't really going towards the same way that I'm trying to go. And that's no disrespect. That doesn't mean anything negative. It just means that I feel like I'm more focused over here in this way, and you're more focused over there in that way. And I respect the fact that you're focused over there in that way, and I hope that you would do the same for me. um and that's just that. Again, no, nothing negative, but I think it's important that you can love people from a distance. You don't have to kick it the same way that you did when you had all your free time. There are people that are balancing work, that are balancing school, that are balancing children, that are balancing their spouse. Like people are juggling a lot of different things. I feel like it's kind of selfish to expect them to always, be there for you just because. Like I don't expect that. So like I have one of my best friends, like literally ever, right? Like brother, you know what I'm saying? Like I might talk to him once every couple of months, but when we talk, it's for like hours. You know what I'm saying? Um, and if he needed me tomorrow, I would be where he needed me to be if need be. You know what I'm saying? So again, I think that as you get older, friendships kind of change. People go their separate ways, but it doesn't mean that you can't still have that connection with them. So again, I don't have friends at this age. I have family, and then I have associates, people that I rock with, the homies, things like that. And which is cool. I'm cool with either one. You know what I mean? As long as I know where you stand and you know where you stand, it's all good. Um, Aging. Whew, listen, Joe Button already got in trouble for mentioning Drake with this. Aging is a beautiful thing. It really is. Aging, getting older is a blessing. And it's a shame that um we often assume or associate um negativity in regards to like death, early death, or we associate like old in their 30s within Black culture or within hip hop. And I think that's a shame because other cultures don't do that. Like they cherish their elders. And 30 is not considered an elder, 40 is not even considered an elder. And so it's interesting that Black American African diaspora, I'm gonna say just Black Americans, let's just say that, right? We tend to limit our we limit the age range of youth, and we tend to disassociate or distance ourselves from people at particular ages, right? Like you're too old to be, to be here or there, my man Tay said, "Ain't nobody trying to fight your spider yellow rich city." That's love. It's love. But yeah, I just think that it's a shame that within Black culture, within Black society, we tend to say that 30, 40 is old and kind of played out. And again, the reason why I mentioned Joe Budden and Drake is because one of his critiques of the album, which I heard the album, I listened to the album. I have my perspective on it, but you all can, if you want that perspective, I'll give it to you. But otherwise, I'm gonna just be quiet because I don't, anyway, I don't want no drama, no beef. I'm good. Again, um, his critique was that Drake's music sounds young. It sounds very um like he's still trying to keep up with the youngins. Which is interesting because he's like 36 or 37 or something like that. And yeah, the when I heard it, I was definitely expecting a different version of the album, but um, it is what it is. It's his music. He has the right to do whatever he wants, and people are going to buy it. People are listen to it. I mean, they're going to stream it regardless because it's Drake. I mean, I listened to it because it was Drake, so I didn't need. He could have been putting out humming. He could have been, and I would have been like, well, it's got Drake's name on it. Let me hear what he has to say, and give it a shot. But aging is great. It's a beautiful thing, and we have to stop glorifying and assuming that because you're that you need that it's the only the young, right? Only the young. Because our people that are um my man my man Tay said he want to know my perspective on a Drake album. Like people, like it's not just the young people, right? Like I get it that in hip hop we try to say that the young people run it and everything like that. But honestly, like we need our OGs. Like that Jay-Z 444 album that came out, bruh, like he was dropping game. And a lot of people was like, oh, it sounds like old music, it sounds like elevator music. But it's supposed to. He was in his 40s. Like it's supposed to sound older. Like he's not supposed to make the same music that he was making when he was 26, when he was 27. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's just but okay, I'll tell since Tay asked me for my perspective on the album. I thought it was I thought it was I was disappointed. I was disappointed because one, the album was set for my dogs. So I'm thinking for my dogs, like, oh, he's making this album for the homies. This gonna be a slapper. He's had all his, previous albums that were about, like the relationships and type of things like that. But he was like, this one for my dogs. After listening to the album, I felt like this might have been for like his female dogs and not like the homies. Um, because it didn't resonate. Okay, my man JD said Drake reinvents himself, showcases different versions of himself every album, and he has always connected himself up and coming with up and coming and new gen artists. Absolutely, yeah. Drake is definitely always putting himself in collaborate. Leave it. Sorry, it's my dog Simba. Go home. Go home. 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 Sorry, y'all. Yeah, but Drake definitely connects with the new artists, which is great. It's like we also have to look at it from a young artist perspective, right? Like imagine you have an opportunity to collaborate with arguably the greatest, you know, pop artists in in history, right? Well, not obviously Michael Jackson's the greatest for sure. So let me make sure I throw that out there right there. He's not even touching Michael Jackson, not even close, not even remotely. Okay, but arguably as far as like streaming wise and numbers wise and things like that, arguably one of the greatest, right? So because he touches so many different genres. So imagine being a young artist and you have an opportunity to work with Drake. Like it's of course, like you do it. And as Drake, he's like, yo, it's a plus because I'm now not only do I have my own fans, but I'm also getting the younger fans who they still want it. So I respect the artistic ability of it. I respect what he's doing. I think, like I said, for me, I was just disappointed because I was hoping he was going to come out with a more of an album that was more mature, talking about like the importance of being a father and a good dad, and you know what I mean, like things like that. But again, it's his music. He has the right to do whatever he wants to it. I can listen to it or I cannot. If I don't want to listen to it, just turn it off. It's just that simple. But I definitely didn't mind Drake's critique. I just said the reason I brought that up is just because again, aging is a blessing and we don't have to stay in the young mentality, but we also don't want to discourage our OGs, right? And 30, 40 is not really an OG. Like OGs are like 55. You know what I'm saying? That's an OG. 40 is not an OG, 30 is not an OG. And it's crazy because when I was 21, I used to think 25 was an OG, which is crazy to think that 25 is an OG when in reality, in no other cultures is 25 an OG. Everybody else is like 25, you're still young. Like, I remember my pops told me, he was like, son, don't get married till you're 30. Don't have kids till you're 30. And I was like, what are you talking about, Pop? Like I'm dang near ready to settle down now. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I mean? And he was like, you don't understand. And when I hit 30, I was like, oh, there's just a click. When you hit 30, you're like, oh, what's good, cuzzo? I see my cuzzo in there saying, what's good, man? Appreciate you, Zay. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when I hit 30, I understood like, okay, I was the way that I think now is very different than what I thought at 25. And so I can understand what he was trying to do. He was trying to tell me, like, you think you're grown, you think you're ready, you think you're mature, but you're really not. And when I hit 30, I said, okay, now I understand because the way that I process information, the way that I think, what I think about on a daily basis has nothing to do with the things that I thought about when I was 25. Right. So that's what he was trying to do. He said it's a funny, my boy Tay said it's a funny perspective and he took it as a dog, as in what Future refers to as city boy. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Like what Culture refers to as city boy. Yeah. I get it. I think I was just assuming Drake was going to have more of just a different energy, right? I was expecting less 808s and 808s. I was expecting more, more kick boom, more kick, more snare. But it's all good. Okay, yeah. Okay, Kaylin said she thought it was just for the city boys too. I mean, I get it. That's cool. Again, I don't know because I'm not into the city boy crowd. Like some people might see me turn up from time to time, but most of the time I be in the crib reading, chilling at the crib. If I step out, it's just to grab a quick drink with the homies, and you know what I mean. We always go to the same spot, Blue Q. But yeah, maybe that's if y'all feel like it was for city boys, that's what's up. It's all good. I just personally didn't the album didn't resonate with me because I felt like it was talking to a much younger crowd about doing things that I just don't find interest in doing on a consistent basis anymore. Like I feel like I'm at a mature stage in life. Now, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, there was still like some like J. Cole went off. J. Cole went off. That song that he said, there's another song that he has where Drake was just spitting bars, and I was just like, wow, yeah, he went in. But aging is okay. There's nothing wrong with aging, and we got to stop it. 2024 the new wave of black music. Yeah, so I guess I kind of addressed the new wave of black music. It's okay. Listen, I am not hating on the youngsters, okay? Because I remember growing up and people were talking bad about hip hop when I was growing up. And I was like, man, you a hater. So now that I'm older, I don't try to hate on the youngsters. I just say that it's not for me. And that's okay. If, you know, I don't want to make music that just makes me want to, oh, I just want to find a baddie and hit all day and smoke weed all day and pop Percocets and drink and did it. I don't. I don't want to listen to that because that's not what I'm interested in doing. But if that's what the young people want to listen to, do your thing. You know what I mean? I think it's sad. I wish that people would listen to more uplifting music, more music that had the ability to encourage them. Like I remember listening to Lupe Fiasco's Food and Liquor and just feeling empowered. I remember listening to Kanye's Graduation and Dropout and Late Registration. I felt empowered. I remember listening to Lupe's The Cool. I felt like super empowered. Like it was like these like music really did something. You know what I mean? Like it really, for me growing up, like I felt like I had the ability to go and take on the world because of the music that I listened to. And so I wish that the hip hop music in general addressed more or spoke more to that because um you know it I think it would be very helpful for the young folks, but it's not the end of the world, I don't critique their music because it's not music for me. um I just hope that and pray that when they get older, they their music does as well. I hope when they get older, they don't just stick in the gangsters and killing and drugs and alcohol and abusing women and all these type of different things. I mean, I understand as a young man, I get it. That's what's entertaining. But we also have to remember that it's these music industries and labels, these hip hop labels that are controlling the way that the music is being heard. Is okay. Tay said, he said, yeah, but that's why I think Button was bashing him, was saying him as old as he is and a father to be steering his crowd. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Joe Budden was. I mean, yeah, it can be considered him bashing him for sure because, he was basically saying he's old and kind of mature up. But again, to each their own. Drake is making millions of dollars, so he doesn't care about what little old Joe Spider has to say on his podcast. I got 5 people view it on Instagram Live. Like it's cool. I'm just saying for me, I wanted it to be a little bit more mature, and that's okay. That's okay. Do your thing, Drake. Do your thing. And if you ever decide you want to hop on a Wise Word Wednesday and tell me about myself, you have my full consent to join. I promise you, you have it. But until then, keep doing your thing, whatever works best for you. Yeah. So yeah, I don't hate on the youngsters. Do what you can, do what you do. Anxiety, I will have another guest on here on this Wise Word Wednesday that's going to talk more about anxiety and how he deals with it. He's an amazing person. He has Instagram where he talks about a variety of different things, talks about mental health as well. So let's talk about that. Accountability. The next one that I got was accountability and how to not be defensive when someone holds you accountable. Listen, accountability is kryptonite to a lot of people. Okay. I'll say it again. Accountability is kryptonite to a lot of people. And a lot of people have that kryptonite because they, they, for a variety of reasons, I'm not even just going to say that, for a variety of reasons. And it's funny. There was this, I was, again, I think this was on Instagram. No, this was on Twitter. I was on Twitter yesterday or I'm sorry, X. That's what it's called, X. And there was this video of a female therapist. And this female therapist, um, she said she noticed that in the marriage and family therapy, then counseling that she was doing, she noticed that women, whenever she started holding the women accountable, they would end the sessions, like they would stop the therapy treatment, like they wouldn't do it, even in marriage. She's like, if there was marriage going on, if there was marriage counseling, and she would be talking and holding the woman accountable, they would cut off the sessions and be like, we're no longer going to you. So not only in the individual one-on-one sessions, but also in the marriage sessions, the women weren't necessarily receiving or taking accountability very well. And so this is a problem that we have in our society is we have done a terrible job holding people accountable. And it's caused everybody to be or a lot of people to be very selfish, self-centered, narcissistic. And can I just say that we've also overused the word narcissism like a lot. Like it's like a pop word now that people say, oh, he's a narcissist, she's a narcissist. Well, we don't know if you're actually a narcissist because you're not qualified to be able to identify someone as a narcissist. So we got to be careful the way we use that word. But I'm just saying, in the context of this particular therapist, she was basically saying like a lot of these women do not take accountability for their times. And even something, I was watching another thing where they talked about how people are weaponizing the fact that they go to therapy. Like they're using it to almost degrade or criticize other people. Like, are you even in therapy? Have you gotten fixed for the things that you do and that you've done, that you've been through? And it's like, therapy wasn't meant for that. Like therapy is meant to be able to help people process some of the decisions they've made, the lives that they live, and some of the things that they've gone through. Okay. Right. And I think it should be available and accessible to everybody. But when you weaponize it, like, especially if you're talking about who you're dating and who you're going to date, right? Like, you cannot weaponize therapy. And so I think that it's really important to, one, learn to take accountability, but two, to make sure that we're not using therapy as a filter in regards to canceling somebody out, or not you saying that someone is even quality because they haven't been to therapy, because it's not readily accessible for every single person. I have another comment. It says, well, I think unfortunately you won't get I won't get clicks speaking speaking sense. I can say I listened to some of the college dropout, but I wasn't listening to Wu-Tang, etc. Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, got another. He says Kevin Samuels' biggest thing was pointing out accountability and was bashed constantly. You know that. Look, okay. Since you brought him up, all right. Kevin Samuels. I'm trying to say this. How can I say this politically correct so I don't get canceled? And somebody doesn't look at this video 20 years from now and be like, see, he was anti-women. Okay. Kevin Samuels was a necessary evil. Okay. Kevin Samuels pointed out a lot of things that many people, many men, Kevin Samuels took barbershop talk and put it online. Like genuine barbershop talk, not professional, not politically correct I'm talking about like what men talk about amongst their friends, what men talk about at the barbershop, what men can how men even get along with each other in a lot of ways, was based on some of the topics that Kevin Samuel covered throughout his content. Do I agree with 100% of the things that he said or even how he said it? No. There are a lot of things that I thought was not factual, or not. I'm not gonna say factual. I would say what was not accurate, right? Or maybe not even that accurate. There was a lot of things that weren't, that I would have done differently. But again, a lot of what that man said was his truth, right? Was based in data. And so I thought it was interesting what Ebony K. Williams did, right? She recently came out and said, like, hey, listen, if you're looking to try to get, for Black women, if you're looking to try to get married, if that's a priority of yours, if that's something you want to do, college is the best time to find that person. That's something that Kevin Samuel said a long time ago. Right? That's something that he mentioned. He was like, hey, listen, Black women, you can get your degree, but understand that as you get older, it's going to be more difficult for you to find a quality partner. The best time to find them is when you're young, when you're, in college, when you're surrounded by, other Black people that are trying to pursue education and academic goals as well too. So I did think that was interesting. One of the things I didn't like when it comes to Kevin Samuels, I didn't like this. I didn't like the fact that we praised a Black man dying. I didn't like that. I didn't like the fact that and I say we as a people, because even though I didn't do it personally, I say we because we are people. I did not like the fact that we praised the death of a Black man and then turned around and celebrated Jerry Springer when he died. Right? We mourned the life of Jerry Springer, but we condemned the passing of Kevin Samuels. Even though Jerry Springer literally built his fame on destroying Black families, and more particularly publicly shaming Black men. Okay. So I have to acknowledge that. I did not like that whatsoever. The fact that we literally talked trash about Kevin Samuels when he died, but then praised and mourned Jerry Springer, a white man. I was not okay with that. I was not okay with that at all. First off, I didn't even talk trash about Queen Elizabeth when she died. Right, the queen. I didn't talk trash about it because it's like, bro, that's an old lady. Like, let her go in peace, but she's not here no more. I don't think that celebrating anybody's death is okay. I think that's messed up. I honestly think if you're celebrating somebody's death that didn't cause physical harm to you, you're a pretty terrible human being. That's how I genuinely feel. Like if they physically beat you or something like that, or killed you or choked you, I say killed you because you can't celebrate his death if you did, but choked you or harmed you, caused physical harm to someone that to you or someone that you genuinely know, like personally, and you're celebrating this person's death. Come on, man. That's out of pocket. There's no person in this world that I feel like deserves to have their death celebrated. Like publicly. Like, come on, man. People got kids, people got brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles. Man, that's cold. I thought that was very tasteless. And I think we need to do better as a society. We don't need to celebrate. Like, it's different if he was causing wars, it's different if he was murdering people. Like, he was just giving his opinion. You know what I'm saying? And to celebrate the death of a person because they gave their opinion when they didn't actually do anything wrong physically, like, come on, we got to do better than that. As a society, we got to do better. Like, I saw people celebrating the Queen's death, and I was like, come on, bro. Like, I get it. Yeah, they were racist. Yeah, they did. Yeah, you're right. But come on, bro. Like, they're gone. They're gone. Come on, man. Rest in power. You get me? Um. So again, back. I done switched over. Again, accountability. Okay. The thing is, I would say no matter what, hold somebody accountable. But if they don't choose to hold themselves accountable, then after you've done it, it is what it is. It's okay. Hold them accountable though. I'm gonna still hold you accountable to what you did or what you said if it was wrong. I'm gonna tell you, hey, yo, that was out of pocket. You know, yo, you shouldn't have did that. Like, yo, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna hold you accountable because I think ultimately it needs to be. You know, this it needs to be said. And I'm not helping you. I'm not helping you grow as an individual if you're not if I don't hold you accountable, you know what I'm saying? And ultimately, we a team. Obviously, if I'm talking to you, we working together in some capacity, whether even if it's just socially, we're in some capacity. And so I don't want that unaccountability to rub off on me. Nah, watch out. Like, I'm gonna hold you accountable to it. And if you don't like it after that, cool. We can go our separate ways. Um, but I do think that there's an appropriate way to hold someone accountable. Like when I was younger, I was just yelling like, "Hey, bruh," like, you know what I'm saying? I would kind of be just tripping out. And it's like as you get older, you understand like everybody don't operate that way. Some people you got to pull to the side, talk to one on one. And some people you can go off in person. They understand it. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, growing up in sports, like I'm used to just, hey, you going off, you telling them off, and then they handle the business. You being told off, you handle your business, however. But like everybody doesn't operate like that. Some people shut down when you yell at them. Some people shut down when you raise your voice. Some people shut down. You know what I'm saying? Um, you know what I'm saying? My boy said he gonna hold me accountable if we end up in something based on me yelling Rich City. Um, so it's just like, it's okay. Like some people shut down. So you have to understand the way people communicate and how to get the best out of them. Period in that sense. So that's just my recommendation. But again, I'm not an expert. Oh, the last one is um to every job, you are really just a number, no matter how valuable you see your position. Listen, that's probably one of the realest things that you will ever hear. One of the realest things that you will ever hear. No matter what job you have, no matter how high your salary is, you are just a person in a position. Okay. And they will replace you tomorrow if they have to. They will let you go if they have to. The pandemic should have shown you that, right? The pandemic should have shown you that. And even if you weren't one of the 40 million unemployed people that we had in this country, the fact that 40 million people were unemployed should have shown you, oh, this job might not be it. right? Remember what happened if we go back in history, right? Remember what happened to the motor industry, right, in Detroit. Remember what happened to all those shops that they had, all those not shops, but all those factories. All those people lost their jobs, right? So that should tell you, no matter where you work, no matter how much they're paying you, right? They will replace you tomorrow. Them 40 million people that lost their jobs, they didn't just automatically get their job back. Some of them are still trying to get a job. What about those doctors? What about those nurses who didn't want to get the vaccine because they felt like there wasn't enough research on it and they didn't feel comfortable getting it? We were praising them 1 minute for being heroes, for still going into the hospitals and fighting and helping people during this pandemic. And then literally the next day, we were like, fire them because they don't want to take the vaccine. And they got fired. They lost their jobs. Firemen, police officers, nurses, doctors, people, great people, they all lost their jobs simply because they did not feel comfortable taking the vaccine. And there's a lot of information that's coming out right now about the vaccines, but that's a whole nother podcast and a whole nother episode. But I'm just saying, I want you to understand that this is why in FYB, we teach you fire your boss. Not saying that you need to quit your job, but what we're saying is fire the boss mentality. This idea that you need somebody to tell you what to do every day so that you can make $1. That's not true. That's not true at all. Now, it is a safe way to make sure that you have a guaranteed paycheck, because one of the things that you need to know about entrepreneurship is that you are not guaranteed $1. You have to work for every single dollar. In fact, most entrepreneurs work twice as many hours as the people that work 9 to 5s. That's a fact. So if you quit your job so you can work, so you can be more free, you can be more free to work. Just keep that in mind. Oh yeah, my man said, look what happened during the 2008 recession. Exactly. Absolutely. You are not guaranteed a job. You have to understand that these jobs, these companies, anywhere you work, I don't care what kind of security you have. The pandemic, the 2008 recession, okay? Go back 100 years before this, the 1920, right? During that pandemic, right? Go back to the 1940s, right? The 1930s, that recession that hit, right? We have to understand that these jobs, they are great for safety. They are great to help you take care of your family, but this cannot be the only option, because they will fire you for anything that they can. Not can, but they will fire you for a lot. A lot. Okay? So you have to be careful, especially if you're working for private companies. They can fire you for whatever. Okay? So just keep that in mind, man. You are the most important person in your life. There's nobody more important than you. You make the decision. If you want to make some extra money on the side, then make that extra money on the side. Put something away in case of a rainy day, because you never know, man. Tomorrow is not promised to nobody, and your job is not promised. No matter what they say on them pieces of paper, bro, they will find a way. They will find a way to get rid of you. So just keep that in mind, man. When you're trying to go above and beyond, you're trying to work, all these hours for this company or this organization, you think they're going to look out for you, man. They're not. They're not. So take your time, take your vacation time, right? Don't have, if you off at 5, then be off at 5. Don't get on that phone. Don't get on that computer. Don't get on man. Stop it. Get your rest in. Take your time off. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy your life, because before you know it, you're going to be 40, 50, 60, 70. And you're going to look back and say, what did I do with my time? What did I do? Where did my life go? And you're going to realize you spent more time at that job than you did with your family. You spent more time at that job than you did with your friends. You spent more time at that job than you did with the people you care most about. You spent more time at that job than you did actually enjoying life. And you're going to have regrets. And I don't want you to have no regrets. I want you to live in peace and harmony. I want you to love it. My man said, unless you're in the public sector, man, trust me, if they want to get rid of you in the public sector, they'll get rid of you too. So I'm just saying, I'm not trying to tell you not to stack your paper. I'm not telling you to not to get that money, not to get the bag, right? Because you can do that. Get the bag. But I'm just telling you that There's nothing more important than you. This money is used as a tool. There's this dude that I follow named Julian Gordon. He talks about the like money is just a tool. Like money is just something that you can sow into something else that can bring something else back to you. It's not the most important thing. Okay? You can never get the time back. And it's easier to say, I make $20 an hour than it is to say, I gave up an hour of my life that I will never get back ever again for $20. Think about it from that perspective. I make $30 an hour. People are like, oh, that's great. Or I make $50 an hour. Oh, that's great. Or say, I gave an hour of my life that I'll never see again for $50. I'm just saying, take your time. Do not let these companies, do not let these organizations, do not let these businesses like drive you crazy. Don't let them drive you to the ground because you will work hard, 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 and then you will sacrifice X amount of years. And what if your mentor ain't right, and then they're gonna replace you? They're gonna replace you. Just ask yourself, how many jobs have you left that they've already filled your position? They'll do it. They don't care because society's gonna keep going without you. So make sure that you take care of you. Make sure you take care of your mental, take care of your paper, take care of your family, and just live life. Enjoy it, man. Enjoy it in whatever capacity that means to you. If that means taking some vacations, that's cool. I be seeing a lot of people take vacations. I don't understand how they taking vacations because I be like, yo, I don't get it. Maybe everybody getting flued out, and I'm just missing. I'm just missing it. You feel me? I know I was traveling a little bit. My man said he talking about federal employees like himself. You know what I'm saying? Oh, my man said scared to take the next job because of comfort, thinking they gonna be looking out for you. Exactly. Man, take that next job, take that promotion, move if you have to, move across the country, move across town, move state to state. Man, take that opportunity. Man, your job is not looking out for you. They looking out for themselves. And as soon as they feel like you're no longer profitable, they gonna shake. They gonna shake. And it's a lot of people, right? Even my man with the federal employees, like it's cool. But what happens if there's a pandemic? What happens if there is a government shutdown? What happens if, you know what I mean? All these different things. So just keep that in mind. Like, don't be afraid to you look out for yourself first. You can't pour from an empty cup. Pour in yourself first and then do others. Even with your paycheck. Take a look. Of course, bills are important. Bills are important. But understand this, take care of yourself first. Make sure before you pay, you know what I'm saying, that even before you pay anything else, make sure you put a little bit of something to the side for you, for your celebration, for your weekend, for your time, because you deserve it, man. Without you, none of this stuff is possible. The man said, play leapfrog until you feel you've reached the pinnacle you're looking for. Absolutely. Jump over everybody. My man said, vacations are fantastic. You just have to know how to spend wisely, especially when you're traveling internationally, man. I agree. Vacations are great. I just be seeing, it seemed like, I don't know what it is. And I might just be venting, but I don't know what it is. But a lot of women that I be seeing on their Instagram just take vacations all the time. And I don't understand it. I'd be like, you must be getting flown out or something, because where you getting this money from? Where they get that? Where they do that at? But again, I ain't no hater. I wish you the best. I'm just saying it's crazy how everybody be flying everywhere. The 15 federal agencies do not get affected by a pandemic or a government shutdown. I'm speaking from personal experience. That's what's up. That's great. That's dope. That's dope. Definitely. That's dope. As long as you didn't get it, I'm just saying at the end of the day, regardless, I work for the state as well too. I didn't see it. But again, it just depends, man. I'm just saying be careful. You know what I'm saying? Regardless, these jobs, these companies do not care. They don't care about you. Even the government, they don't care. If you pass away tomorrow, knock on wood. Of course, we don't want that to happen. But if you pass away tomorrow, they're gonna replace you. So I'm just saying, do not put all into this. I know plenty of people that's been spending years in federal positions, government positions, high ranking. Again, they got replaced whenever, you know what I mean, when they leap to the next position, somebody replaced their old position, or when they did something that got them released, their position was taken. Somebody gonna feel it. So I'm just saying, just look out for yourself in that sense. But man, I appreciate y'all. joining. I got some more some people, that's for sure. I appreciate all y'all joining the live. This was super impromptu. You know what I'm saying? Impromptu for sure. I thank y'all. Like I said, I had a guest that was supposed to be on earlier today, but they couldn't make it. So I was just like, but I still want to be consistent. You know what I mean? Part of this is really just about my vision for Wise Word Wednesdays, the show, and kind of expanding, you know, some of the things that we've been doing. So I just genuinely appreciate y'all for providing y'all feedback. Thank you for leaving comments. You know, my man said, keep in mind you replace somebody taking the job you took. Exactly. um but I just want to be consistent with providing information and insight. And I really genuinely appreciate y'all, especially, man. Thank you, Tay. Thank you to my bro Bookworm Sigmund. Thank you to the mob. I appreciate you, man. Everybody that took an opportunity just to join in on the conversation. And so I hope that this has been good. I hope this has been helpful, insightful. And maybe I'll do this once every couple months where I just kind of sit back and just answer questions and talk and communicate with people from IG Live. I hope it was helpful. Um, and if it hasn't, just leave a comment and let me know. Like, let me know how you feel. Let me know your feedback. Let me know what you think, because um, if I just don't have to do this, I won't. But I do like it. I do like it. So thank y'all. I appreciate y'all for joining, man. FYB presents Wise Word Wednesdays. I'm gonna leave you with a "We Fresh," and I love you. And I'm signing out so I can go to sleep, because I want to try to hit the gym in the morning.